As you can imagine, yesterday's Bank of Canada announcement of rate increase has caused many to fear for the financial future. Is it time to push the panic button, or can you just push the help button for David? Variable rate, by definition, does not have any rate guarantee. It floats with the prime rate, which indirectly set by the Bank of Canada. The rate is often quoted as prime minus or plus a certain discount, for example, prime minus 1%. The Bank of Canada prime rate is a benchmark for the retail banks to set their rate. For example, on October 24, 2018, the Bank of Canada prime rate is set at 1.75%, while our retail banks set their mortgage prime rate at 3.95%. The fixed-term mortgage, on the other hand, is a contract. In the case of a 5-year fixed rate, the interest rate is guaranteed for the duration of the 5-year term. Fixed-rate mortgage is dictated by the market forces instead of our government. It is heavily influenced by the government-issued bonds. As the bond yield increases, the interest rate will increase as well. So, should we lock our mortgage into a fixed term now, or should we wait? The answer is really this: it depends. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. It depends a lot on each individual's personal preferences and financial situations. I will propose 3 reasons why you should lock it in now. I will also propose 3 reasons why it is better to stay with a variable rate. The first reason to lock now is for peace of mind. You need to know your own risk tolerance. How much would the worrying be worth to you? The money you can potentially save may not be enough to pay for Prozac. The second reason is this: can you afford the gamble? Especially factoring in the fact that you could be wrong with your decision. The third reason is really a no-brainer. If you know for sure that the interest rate will continue to rise, it would be wise to lock it in now to avoid paying a higher interest rate later. Historically, variable rate mortgages wins 85% of the time. 5-year rate is often higher than the variable rate. For example, today's rate for a 5-year fix is 3.65% compared to the variable rate of 2.95%, a difference of 0.7%. One of the arguments you may have is this: if I lock it in now, I will be fixing the rate for a 5-year term at 3.65%. Would I be gamble on the fact that the variable rate may not go up by another 0.7%? If it did, I break even. If it go up more, I have to pay the extra. And there may be a chance that the variable rate may come back down in the near future. There is also the penalty issue with a fixed-term mortgage. Some variable rates are open on 3 months interest only. Now, notice I said some, so check the fine print on your variable rate mortgage. However, the fixed-term mortgage penalty could be a lot higher than the 3 months interests. You need to evaluate your own circumstances. Are there any possibility of moving or major events that require large sum of money in the near future? We often think of problems. However, happy events often cost money too. For example, college educations, planned trips for overseas visits, upcoming wedding, especially the one you have to host and pay for. Here are some interesting facts that may help you with your decision. Let's start with the variable rate. We are currently 1% higher than the last 10 years average rate. However, we are 0.85% lower than the highest in the past 10 years. The current 5-year rate, it's about the same as the 10-year average, but 1.61% lower than the highest rate in the last 10 years. In all honesty, I'm not that concerned about rate increases. If our hydro bill or condo fee or many other expenses that potentially can go up by, say, $100 or so, we don't like it, we simply complain about it, and we live with it. When our mortgage payment go up by, say, $80 or so, we freak. Often the fear of mortgage payment increase is not the real issue, as there are probably many problems behind the problems. Deep down, I have two major concerns for my clients. One, debt management. Two, recession. The recession that I believe is on the way here. Let's talk about debt management. The major issue is the addition of debts after the original mortgage. It seems that the lines of credit start to grow and new credit cards we require along the way. Before we know it, the so-called other debts spin out of control. It is common to owe $20,000 or more on a credit card. However, when you owe $20,000 on 3 or more cards, this can cause a great deal of financial stress. Typical payment is 3% per month. $60,000 in cards owing may have an additional $1,800 a month payment on top of the already tight budget. Please ask yourself, are you living within your means? Your mortgage payment is probably still within the guideline. How are your student loans, other loans and leases, credit cards, lines of credit, etc.? Are they within the guidelines? The other area of concern is what I call the now money. You would know hockey is not cheap. Gymnastics, ballet, dances, and other activities are all expensive. Often, it got paid by using our credit cards. If you are feeling financial stress, don't hesitate to call. Call for an appointment now. My other concern is the upcoming recession. Looking at the financial data, I believe we are in a recession within the next year or two. A lot of data seems to be suggesting the economy is humming along nicely. New jobs are added, etc., etc. However, take a look at the excessively high student loan debts, the pending collapse of many pension funds in the United States, government spending and corruptions, just to name a few. These things are going out of control. In the U.S., 44 million borrowers owing $1.5 trillion in student loans. Now, I don't know about you. I can't count that many zeros, especially when it's in the term of trillions. And there's a good possibility that most of these people will not have the capacity to repay. Here are just some headlines from the internet just to give you an idea. The leading indicator is the inverted yield curve. This is my personal favorite gauge. We had 9 inversions since 1957. All 9 times followed with a recession. GDP, gross domestic product, often go down. Stock markets usually follow with a major crash. To be fair, the curve has not been inverted yet. At the time of this video production, it is only 0.44% from crossing over to inversion. The average has been around 2.5%. Question: are you ready for the recession? Here is a funny way to understand a recession from a depression. A recession is when you learn that your friends are out of work. A depression is when you get the termination notice from your boss as well. Well, kidding aside, a recession is a terrible thing for many people. Some will lose their jobs, homes, and assets. However, for those who understand and are prepared for it, it would be a time to gain wealth at a bargain, providing you have the resources to do so. Let's get serious. Are you ready for a recession? It takes education, preparation, and understanding to profit from it. You need to plan what to do when we go into recession. You also need to include in your plan that what if we're wrong? It is urgent that you call me now and start preparing to reap the gains. My name is David So. I have been in the money business since 1989. I was too young to feel the impact of the first 4 recessions since 1957. I had a good paying job during the 1980, 1981, and 1990 recession. The only painful thing I remember was paying 21% mortgage rate in 1981. In the 2001 and 2009 recession, I started to have more financial resources. I noticed bargains on many classes of assets. I remember being offered to buy a 20 floors building in Toronto at the Bay and Queen area. At that time, that was the heart of the city. The asking price was only $1 million. It was a steal even back then. I loved that building. However, after we inspected the building, I realized one major issue. I could not come up with the proper fundings during a recession time to complete the purchase. In all fairness, it also required another $5 million of improvements and to pay the property taxes in arrear for another $2 million. This is one of the many reasons I have learned to prepare financially before a recession hits. I have no doubt there are turbulent times in the horizon. I believe you now have two options. Option 1, you can go back to sleep and hope for the best. Option 2, you need to plan and prepare, and the time is now. I can be reached by text, by phone, or by email for an appointment. Thank you.